This is the story of a theft that left the world's top investigation agency restless for 6 years. This was no small theft. It was a heist of 290 billion rupees, equivalent to $3.5 billion. How the thief was eventually caught by a phone call, how he hid such a huge amount in a small Cheetos box, and most importantly, how the person to whom the money actually belonged disowned it after its recovery. On September 13, 2019, a young man named Jimmy Jong made an emergency call to 911. This call was going to land him in serious trouble. Jimmy Jong lived in a small town called Athens in the state of Georgia. He called the police to report a burglary at his home. Upon questioning by the police officer, it was revealed that $400,000 had been stolen from Jimmy Jong's house. The large amount left the police somewhat shocked. Jimmy had installed a top-notch security system in his house, and he had CCTV footage showing the intruder entering his home. The intruder had covered his face. Jimmy was a graduate of Georgia University and was known among his friends as the party boy. He would spend up to $500,000 on a single party and would buy drinks for everyone present whenever he visited a bar. Most of his friends stayed with him because of his money and lavish lifestyle. He even gathered all his friends to watch his favorite football team's match and took them to Los Angeles in a private jet. The point is, Jimmy had so much money at such a young age that he probably couldn't manage it himself. When the police failed to solve the burglary at his house, he hired a private detective named Martinelli. Given Jimmy's lifestyle and friend circle, it seemed likely that the theft was committed by one of his friends. Therefore, Martinelli thoroughly studied the case by examining Jimmy's private life, including his social media accounts and bank transactions. The private detective was also shocked by the source of Jimmy's income given his extravagant spending at such a young age. Jimmy told everyone that he was a Bitcoin trader and crypto investor. At that time, due to the rapid increase in Bitcoin prices, everyone believed him. The detective stated that the person entering Jimmy's house in the video knew exactly when Jimmy would not be home and when to commit the theft, indicating that it was indeed a close friend of Jimmy's. This wasn't the first time Athens police had come into contact with Jimmy. A few years earlier, he had been caught with cocaine and, since then, had maintained a good relationship with the police. Often, Athens police would use the CCTV cameras installed at his house to help investigate other cases. However, this time, because of the 911 call, Jimmy came under significant scrutiny from the police. During this period, the regional cybercrime unit also learned about the $400,000 theft from Jimmy's house and his claim of being a Bitcoin trader. They began to suspect how Jimmy acquired such a large amount of money, even if he did. I have Bitcoins. The regional cybercrime unit had been investigating the Silk Road crypto heist for the past 7 years without any significant leads. Silk Road was an online marketplace where all sorts of illegal activities took place, from weapons to drugs, and all transactions were conducted in Bitcoin. In 2012, the exchange was hacked and someone stole a total of 51,780 Bitcoins from various traders. However, since it was an illegal dark website, no one reported the theft. The following year, the owner of Silk Road was arrested and the FBI shut down the website, seizing all the Bitcoins. The Silk Road owner had 170,000 Bitcoins in his possession, but the 51,680 Bitcoins stolen earlier were still missing, presumably taken by the hacker. The FBI suspected that the Silk Road owner might have transferred these remaining Bitcoins to another account and was lying about it. Bitcoin transactions are entirely transparent, allowing anyone to see them, but the account owner's identity remains anonymous. The regional cybercrime unit suspected that Jimmy Jong might be connected to the Silk Road theft. To confirm this, they needed to identify Jimmy's Bitcoin address. Therefore, Athens police and the regional cybercrime unit planned to meet Jimmy to gather more information. Since the police were already investigating the $400,000 theft, this meeting seemed entirely routine to Jimmy. 3 plainclothes officers entered Jimmy's house and assured him they were there to investigate the $400,000 theft and nothing else. During the conversation, they casually asked Jimmy about his source of income. Jimmy showed them his room, where 2 Bitcoin miners were running. A blockchain expert was part of the regional cybercrime team, and he quickly realized that 2 Bitcoin miners couldn't generate the kind of wealth Jimmy was spending. Meanwhile, while distracting Jimmy with conversation, one officer accessed Jimmy's laptop and copied one of his Bitcoin addresses. This was just one of Jimmy's many Bitcoin addresses, but it was enough to connect him to the Silk Road crypto heist. The regional cybercrime team's suspicion was spot on. Although this Bitcoin address didn't hold a significant amount of money, its transaction history matched with Silk Road transactions from several years ago. This confirmed that Jimmy had a connection to the Silk Road crypto heist. Now, the officers were determined to find the 51,680 bitcoins they believed Jimmy still possessed. They contacted Jimmy again to arrange a meeting, but this time they went with a search warrant. When Jimmy found out, he turned pale. The officers began searching his house thoroughly, checking each tile to see if he had created any secret storage compartments. Finally, they came across a small Cheetos container with a towel inside. Seeing the towel inside a snack container made them suspicious, so they pulled it out and found a small computer chip hidden within it. This was a Bitcoin hardware wallet that still held 51,000 Bitcoins, which in 2021 were worth $3.5 billion. Jimmy was now completely trapped. In trying to catch the thief of his $400,000, he lost 51,000 Bitcoins. Jimmy told the officers that he used to visit the Silk Road exchange to satisfy his drug addiction and would buy drugs from there. In 2012, one day while withdrawing his Bitcoins from the site, he discovered a loophole in the website. Jimmy, already having a good understanding of blockchain, exploited this loophole to start withdrawing Bitcoins from all other users on the site. After withdrawing 51,680 Bitcoins, the owner of Silk Road found out. At that time, the value of these Bitcoins was around $600,000. The owner of Silk Road knew he couldn't report this to the police, so he privately messaged Jimmy and asked him what loophole he had found in the website. Jimmy explained the loophole to him, and in return, the owner forgave the stolen Bitcoins. The police and regional cybercrime team had finally solved this case after years. In 2023, Jimmy Jong was sentenced to 1 year and 1 day in prison for this theft. This is considered the largest crypto heist in United States history. If Jimmy hadn't called 911 that day, he might still be a billionaire today. But that one phone call brought him crashing down. The FBI sent notices to the owners of the seized 51,000 Bitcoins, asking those who suffered losses in the 2012 crypto heist to come forward and claim their Bitcoins. However, the good news was that no one came forward to claim their Bitcoins, as doing so would reveal that they had an account on Silk Road, implying involvement in criminal activity. So, this was the story of Jimmy Jong, which I'm sure you found interesting. If you want to watch more videos like this, please subscribe to the channel.